mention the episode lightly, but it was no laughing matter. I was lucky to escape with my life. Nervous and upset with the strain, I shall not return to the ivies till the grass begins its retreat. Too restless to continue my book, paced the deck a long time. October 24th. The 50 girls arrived, and a more maddening cargo I can't imagine. I gave orders to keep them forward, but their shrill presence nevertheless penetrates aft. I hear all electricity has been cut off. Grass in Yorkshire. October 25th. F came aboard with the other scientists and immediately wanted to know why we didn't set sail. I asked her if her work could be carried on any more easily at sea. She shrugged her shoulders. I pointed out that only rats leave a sinking ship, and England was far from overcome. She favored me with one of her fixed stares. "You are dithery, Wiener. Your epigrams have lost their jaunty air of discovery, and your face is almost green. You would not expect me to remain unaffected by the events around us, Miss Francis." "Wouldn't I?" she retorted incomprehensibly, and went below to her cabin laboratory. The grass is reported in Essex and Hertfordshire. I understand there are at least 2 other ships equipped for research and manned by English scientists. It would serve F right if they perfected a counteragent first. October 26th. Have ordered our accompanying ships to lie offshore, lest they be boarded by fear-crazed refugees, for the grass is now in the vicinity of London, and England is in a horrible state. October 27th. BBC transmitting from Penzance. Faint. November 3rd. On board the Sisyphus off Scilly, the last days of England have passed. Heightening the horror, the BBC in its final moments forewent its policy of soothing its listeners and urging calmness upon them. Instead, it organized an amazing news service, using thousands of pigeons carrying messages from eyewitnesses to the station at Penzance to give a minute-by-minute account of the end. Dispassionately and detachedly, as though this were some ordinary disaster, announcer after announcer went on the air and read reports. Heart-piercing, anticlimactic, tragic, trivial, noble, and thoroughly English reports. The people vented their futile rage and terror in mass pyromania. Building after building, city after city was burned to the ground. But according to the BBC, the murderous frenzy of the continent was not duplicated. Inanimate things suffered. Priceless art objects were kicked around in the streets, but houses were carefully emptied of inhabitants before being put to the torch. These were the spectacular happenings, the emphatic events. Behind them, and in the majority, were quieter, duller transactions. Churches and chapels filled with people sitting quiet in pews meditating. Gatherings in the country where the participants looked at the sun, earth, and sky. Vast meetings in Hyde Park proclaiming the indissoluble brotherhood of man, even in the face of extinction. We heard the Queen and her consort remained in Buckingham Palace to the last, but this may be only romantic rumor. At all events, England is gone now, after weathering a millennium of unsuccessful invasions. From where I sit peacefully, bringing my history up to date and jotting these notes in my diary, I can see, faintly with the naked eye or quite distinctly through a telescope, that emerald gem set in a silver sea. The great cities are covered. The barren moors, the lovely lakes, the gentle streams, the forbidding crags, are all mantled in one grassy sward. England is gone, and with it the world. What few men of forethought who have taken to ships, what odd survivors there may be in Arctic wastes or on lofty Andean or Himalayan peaks, together with the complement of the Sisyphus and its accompanying escort, are all that that survive of humanity. It is an awesome thought. Later. Reading this over, it seems almost as though I had been untrue to my fundamental philosophy. The world has gone, vanished, but perhaps it is for the best after all. We shall start again in a few days with a clean slate, picking up from where we left off, for we have books and tools and men of learning and intelligence to start a new and better world the moment the grass retreats. I am heartened by the thought. Below, Miss Frances and her co-workers are striving for the solution. After the last experiment, there can be no question as to the outcome. An hour ago, I would have written that it was deplorable this outcome couldn't be achieved before the latest victory of the grass. Now, I begin to believe it may be a lucky delay. November 4th. What meaning have dates now? We shall have to have a new calendar, before the grass and after the grass. November 5th. Moved by some incomprehensible morbidity, I had a stainless steel chest, complete with floats, made before embarkation, in order to place the manuscript and diary in it, should the impossible happen. I have it now on the deck beside me, as a reminder never to give way to a weak despair. F promises me it is a matter of days, if not hours, till we can return to our native element. November 8th. Another test. Almost completely successful. F certain the next one will do it. My emotions are exhausted. November 9th. I have completed my history of the grass down to the commencement of this diary. I shall take a well-earned rest from my literary labors for a few days. F announces a new test, the final one, Wiener, the final one, for tomorrow. November 10th. Experiment with the now perfected compound has been put off one more day. F is completely calm and confident of the outcome. She is below now, making last-minute preparations. For the first time, she has infected me with her certitude, although I never doubted ultimate success, and I feel tomorrow will actually see the beginning of the end for the grass which started so long ago on Mrs. Dinkman's lawn. How far I and the world have come since then. Would I go back to that day if I had the power? It seems an absurd question, but there is no doubt we who have survived have gained spiritual stature. Of course, I do not mean anything mystical or supernatural by this observation. We have acquired heightened sensitivity and new perceptions. Brother Paul, ridiculous mountebank, was yet correct in this: the grass chastised us rightly. Whatever sins mankind committed have been wiped out and expiated. Later. We are out of sight of land, nothing but sea and sky, no green anywhere. On the eve of liberation, all sorts of absurd and irrelevant thoughts jump about in my mind. The strange lady, Joe's symphony burned by his mother. Whatever happened to William Rufus Lafacici after he eschewed his profession for superstition? And Mrs. Dinkman. For some annoying reason, I am beset with the thought of Mrs. Dinkman. I can see her pince-nez ill-adjusted on her nose. I can hear her high-pitched, complaining voice bargaining with me over the cost of inoculating her lawn. The ugly stuff of her tasteless dress is before my eyes. It is so real to me, I swear I can see the poor, irregular lines of the weaving. Still later. I have sat here in a dull lethargy, undoubtedly induced by my overwrought state, quite understandable in the light of what is to happen in a few hours, my eyes on the seams of the deck, reviewing all the things I have written in my book, preparing myself, in a way, for the glorious and triumphant finish. But I am beset by delusions. A moment ago it was the figure of Mrs. Dinkman, and now, by all the horror that has overcome mankind, it is a waving, creeping, insatiable, runner of the grass.